What's going on, people? Today I will be reviewing the Equalizer in Blu-ray and 4K, and I got that coming up for you next! So, I am catching up from December with the Equalizer 2 on Blu-ray and 4K, and I'm going to be getting right into the movie itself. And this was one that I had missed in theaters. I was going to review it for you guys, but I had a very busy, very Marvel-like August, and so I did miss this one. And hey, who can't resist Denzel Washington? This guy is awesome. I love almost every single one of his movies. This is actually one of his kind of weaker ones, but it's still pretty damn good. He has a good track record, and this movie, it just suffers a lot when it is compared to its predecessor. The first Equalizer had a very strong narrative to it that really made you feel for the characters that entered into Denzel's character's life. And here, you just don't connect to those characters. So when he goes to help them, you're kind of like, okay, whatever. All right. And yeah, you definitely are lacking in emotional connection to almost every other character in this movie other than Denzel. And that's because he's Denzel. So, that with a story that telegraphs itself long before it really gives you the end reveal of who this killer is. And yeah, this movie, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It was entertaining, but it just fails to live up to its predecessor in my mind. And getting into the video quality, starting off with the Blu-ray, you have a very detailed presentation here that has a lot of detail in close-ups with facial pores of characters, especially Denzel. That dude's getting old. And yeah, with all of the Boston landscapes, I enjoyed seeing them, and they are pretty well integrated here. And hey, I'm from Boston. Definitely a very clean picture. This was shot digitally, so no grain whatsoever. So grain haters, you might like this one. And the only thing that I would say that is a negative here is there are some scenes, specifically like wider shots of the city, like establishing shots that I would say are a little too soft and don't match up with the razor sharp edges that the rest of the film has. So it's a little inconsistent in that right, but still, I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. This is a really good, very strong Blu-ray here. And getting into the 4K presentation, this is largely stepped up, and this is actually given a 2K digital intermediate. So this actually was upscaled to 4K, but it was actually shot in 3K with Arri Alexa cameras. I really like the Arri Alexa camera line, and it definitely makes for a very clean and very razor sharp presentation. Great for 4K, and that is how it is here. You can see just detail upon detail in facial features, in city landscapes, in Denzel's car that he drives because he's a Lyft driver now. You can see all the fabrics on his seats and, fabrics on clothing. A lot of that is truly excellent. And along with that, the foreground definitely pops out a lot more from the background in 4K. So you definitely have that dimensionality to it. And getting into the HDR here, HDR definitely gives this a more vibrant quality. And colors are just going to pop off of the screen at times because of the fact that, sometimes this movie can be filmed with cloudy skies or just not the best lighting situations, which kind of makes for a little lesser HDR, but still, this is a very strong presentation. And the only thing that I would say is a little lacking is I didn't notice any difference with those establishing shots that I talked about on the Blu-ray, with them being a lot softer than the rest of the presentation. So for that, I'm going to give this actually a same grade of a 9 out of 10. This is really, really strong material here. And what else is really strong is the audio quality, because we were given a Dolby Atmos mix on the 4K and a DTS HD 7.1 mix on the Blu-ray. And we'll talk about that one first. It is excellent. It is just as good as the sound mix that was on the original Equalizer Blu-ray. You get thumping bass with excellent bass response as well. Front speakers have extraordinary speaker separation, and the surrounds definitely just help that out as well. And the field of sound sounds enormous here. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. It is really great, even on Blu-ray. But on 4K, we do get that Dolby Atmos mix, and you will hear a difference. Speaker separation is stepped up a notch, and height speakers are aggressive, and I love it. Almost every action scene has some sort of height speaker work. A lot of airplanes flying overhead, and just a lot of action going on up there. And the score really comes to life in the Dolby Atmos mix, and I feel like the field of sound is just so wide and so immersive, and I just love this Dolby Atmos mix. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10, actually. This is truly something great. Specifically, the last action scene and the final shootout. That one is reference, demo quality right there. And getting into the digital copy here, this is actually a Movies Anywhere digital copy. So you can access the 4K version with Dolby Vision. For some reason, they didn't put it on the disc, but it is on the digital version that they give you, and you can access that on iTunes and on Vudu. And as far as the special features here goes, I just had to laugh when I picked this disc up, because there was a mode on here called Retribution Mode. And it just sounds very aggressive. Retribution. And that actually is something that is pretty cool, where Antoine Fuqua actually, it's like a picture-in-picture thing where he comes up and talks to you about the film and shows you some behind the scenes on how they actually did certain scenes. I would equate it to what was done with Watchmen. There's actually a trivia track that you can listen to as well. That is just a lot of fun. And then you get into the lesser stuff, where you have Denzel in front of the camera talking about the movie for 7 minutes, and Antoine Fuqua doing the same thing. And then you get a small featurette that goes into the action scenes that are in the film, and you get some deleted scenes, theatrical trailers. All of this is actually only on the Blu-ray, not on the 4K disc. That is unfortunate. I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10, just because nothing is on the 4K disc, and just try a little harder. And getting into my last looks at Equalizer 2, this is not a bad movie. You shouldn't just stay away from this movie. It's just lesser the more you think about the first Equalizer film. You had a movie there with compelling characters besides Denzel, and here, they try to set up stakes for him, and it just doesn't pay off. And they try to set up characters here that really don't measure up to the supporting characters that were in that first Equalizer. And it really hurts it here. And when you add up all my scores for the Equalizer on Blu-ray, you come out to a 30 out of 40. And when you add up all my scores for the 4K, you come out to a 31 out of 40. And that was just the difference with the audio quality. I just really liked the Dolby Atmos mix that was on that 4K disc, so I had to give it that little boost. So next, I will be getting into Venom. I have a lot to talk to you guys about that there. So look forward to that video. It will not be that far away. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. You guys are awesome. I don't even need to say it because you know it. And I will see all of you next time.